Hi, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to episode 19 of A Conversation With. I am Cassie Macklin filling in today for Nick Powell's, but I also am joined by Charles. And we today are going to be speaking with Haydne, a franchisee and area developer with Idea Lab Kids. So thank you all for joining. Hello. So first, just to get started, Haydne, would you just be able to kind of walk us through your story? What was it that inspired you to get into franchising and what ultimately led you to Idea Lab?
So yeah, actually, I don't have a background really in franchising or anything like that up until now. I actually am an interior designer by trade. So I did commercial design. I worked for in the QSR industry and did commercial design for restaurants for really 12 years. And then about 2 years ago, after the birth, well, I was pregnant with our first son, and we had all, just doing on our own. So we actually, it was real funny. I was still working, and my husband had a family member from Houston come to visit us, and he had heard of Idea Lab, and so he said, I don't know if anyone's here is looking for any really cool business opportunities, but there's this company out of Houston. They're young, they're growing, but they're really cool, and if anybody's looking for something, you should check it out. So at the time, I was still working at a corporate job. But he called the company then, and he got information on it, and he said we started thinking more seriously about it, and just kind of maybe one day is now. So I mean, he was a month old, and we were like, let's fly down and talk with them. Met with them. We really liked the concept and just what it had to offer. And so on the way back, on the flight back, I was talking to him. I said, I really like it. It is a really cool idea. There's nothing like it in general that we know of, not anything specifically like it. And even in Georgia, where we're from, there's nothing like it at all. So I said, I like this a lot, and we should really think about this. And he is an attorney by trade, and he does a lot of business things. And so from the business standpoint, he said, well, if we're going to do it, let's be area developers, and we can just have more control over the state and kind of how that goes. And so that's sort of how it really was kind of like, okay, we just went out on a whim and we said, let's do it. And we did it.
So Haydne, it happens. We lost you at parts, right? Wi-Fi, internet. So we're going to forget everything we lost, and we're just going to push forward, which is fine.
Sure.
No, it's good. No, because I think you were touching on some important parts. So, with our limited time, let's hone in on a couple of things, right? First, there's people out there, they're going to be listening to these videos. Maybe they're interested in Idea Labs. Maybe they're interested in buying a franchise. If I had to throw some rapid questions at you, right? When you were going through the process, evaluating different franchise brands, what was important for you? What ultimately led you? What were the distinguishing factors for Idea Lab? And what would you recommend to anyone out there that's looking at franchises?
I'll tell you, when we were looking at different ideas, we were looking at everything. We were looking at restaurants. We were looking at stores, shops, like retail things. We were looking at everything because we were kind of at the mindset, we just want to have our own business and be able to have that going on. Idea Lab happened to come at the right time. And when we saw it, we just loved it in general because we were thought this makes more sense for us. We didn't have kids. Like I said, I had a 2-month-old. So it wasn't that I was into specifically kid facilities or things like that, but I see the value in it. So when we saw it and we saw the value, for us, it was so much different that it just felt right because it wasn't like just a restaurant. It was something where it's a good business opportunity. It's needed in the community. And we also, it's a way to give back. So it's a business, you're still making money, but it's just, there's so many ways that you can help the community and help the kids. And so for us, we saw value in that. And that's what made it, sometimes it's just a gut feeling. Like we didn't know what franchise we wanted. We just wanted something and we wanted it to feel right. And for us, this checked all the boxes because we thought, what a cool way to really offer something that is like good for people and good for kids and can really help put someone on the right path.
Absolutely. And in terms of, you find this brand, it clicks with you, that you want to be able to give back while also, as you said, running a business that's ultimately going to be profitable. I believe that you mentioned in the first part, just, you wanted a little bit more control and you wanted more opportunity to grow with it. So you added that area developer side. What has that process been like, and how have you been able to help other people, be introduced to the brand and have that same experience that you did?
It's still a growing process. So we like I said, it was about 2 years ago that we started this whole process from the very beginning. It hasn't even been a full year. So our campus actually started construction around this time last year. It was just open in November. So we haven't even been open a full year. So we've had some discussions with local people that are interested. But our mindset has also been, we really wanted to get this great facility open so that we had a showstopper, so that when people are interested, we say, okay, if you're interested, let me show you really what this vision looks like. And they can come and see it and, get the feel for what it is. And so that has been our mindset, really, was to get it open, get it running, so we have something to show people. It's not just this idea of what we want them to buy into. And so we've really been focused more on just trying to get the word out really now. And unfortunately, it was kind of all starting to pick up right when COVID happened. So a lot of that has slowed down in general because everyone, I think, is kind of just in this space where they're trying to survive. But that was kind of the process for us. Like we just felt like we wanted people to see it and to get the vision, because you can say you have this kind of facility all day long, but what it boils down to is a lot of people still, for us in our area, picture like daycares or really juvenile places. So I think when we kind of thought, when they come and they see this space, like we worked really hard on the design of it, and really made it this place that was mature but modern, but it wasn't like a daycare. There's, a science lab, and there's beakers, and there's goggles, and all, like a culinary kitchen. When you see it, it makes it seem more of this place that's like worth investing in. So that's kind of how we've been tackling it so far.
Haydne, one of the things we focus on often when we're speaking with franchisees, and we see many successful franchisees, is what were the intangible factors? You're about to make a life-changing decision, right? Invest significant capital, time, your future with Idea Labs, right? And you're in this process, you're evaluating them, you're probably evaluating other brands. What were some of the intangibles or the important factors that you leaned in on that made the difference, that led to you signing on and becoming a franchisee with them?
I don't know if it's the full right answer, but a lot of it was gut feeling. It sounds, it may sound kind of cliche, but children are the future, and public education, everyone knows in America, is kind of a struggle for a lot of places. So we just sort of see it. While I didn't have kids at the time, like that were relevant to this age group, I sort of see it as any little thing you can do to help the future is what we want to do. So if some child comes in here and maybe he hates science, but he comes to our place and he does some hands-on activities where he's doing these really cool science experiments and he gets to do it, and he leaves there and he thinks, science isn't that bad, you can really change the direction of where someone goes in life. Like they can really change their whole trajectory. And for us, that's kind of, it was this gut feeling that we can do something, we can have a business, we can make money, but we can really help kids and help the future find a way. And if that changes, if that one little thing changes the course of their direction in life, then that has value to us. So it's a really cool opportunity. It's these cool things. Everyone loves it. They're having fun. They don't know they're learning. And but parents love it too. And it's just, for us, it's a way, it was an opportunity, like a good business opportunity that we had a gut feeling about. But that we also know for a fact helps the community around us. And I feel like when you can kind of have both of those things, it's fulfilling as a business owner, if that makes sense, right? Because I'm not just making money, I'm helping people too. And it makes it more fun and more worth it.
Absolutely. And how has it been? You know, you mentioned obviously you finally get off the ground, COVID hits, you're in this business where you're giving back to people in person. What has that been like? And how have you, been able to carry on those conversations and services, even if it looked a little different for a while?
It's been a challenge. I think everybody in the world has the same challenge. So it's not just, something that affects us. But you have to be, as a business owner, I think you have to have a certain level of resilience. You have to be able to think on your feet. You have to be able to figure these things out, because if it's not this, it may very well be something else in the future. So I'm lucky. We are pretty creative thinkers. My husband, like I said, is an attorney, but he has a lot of business background. So with that, it's just been, you have to get creative and you have to think of ways to make it work. So we were shut down like everybody else. I mean, this was supposed to be our first summer, and summer camps are really where you get most of your awareness. You get a lot of traffic. So we were really looking forward to it. But of course, like everyone else, we had to shut down, in March, and we were just completely closed for 3 months. So that was a big hit for us. But we were lucky, because the nice thing is this, in this community and with this business model, I feel like in general, you get a lot of community support, and they kind of stay loyal. You have loyal fans. So even when we were small and starting, we have these families. Most of our business has been word of mouth, honestly, because the parents love it so much that their kids are asking to come back. And it's not like we have to explain why, at a certain point. It's the kids want to come, and then they want their friends to come with them. So once we were kind of able to do a slow open for the summer, we aren't at full capacity. We had to lower our camps that we were doing. We had to do half the class sizes. But we were fortunate, because with that in mind, we still were almost full every week of the summer for what we're offering, because there were still parents that just wanted their kids to have something. And while it's a downside with this whole COVID, the upside was that a lot of parents, their kids had now been home for 3 months, and they're like, we've got to get them out, and they need something because they haven't been in school and they need this. So we had a lot of parents that sent their kids almost every week of the summer. And then they got their friends to come. So you just have to kind of get your mind right and say, hey, this stinks, but we've got to figure out a solution, and you just have to be flexible and roll with it.
So Haydne, there's another dimension here. You're a developer. And so either, to me, that means you're going to open up multiple locations, or are you helping others open up locations in your area?
I think right now our vision is both.
Okay. So for franchisees out there, that's a big step, because not only are you running your idea labs, you took the opportunity further, where you have the opportunity now open up multiple locations, and also potentially have others open up locations. And how is the development aspect of it going, in terms of evaluating a pathway for the future, opening up new locations, and if you're having any conversations with other franchisees?
I would say right now it's slow. We had a lot of interest, and we have been fielding a lot of people who are calling and really interested in the model. But everything kind of came to a real slowdown with COVID. So all of our people who were interested are sort of I think everyone's just kind of taking a pause on what they were thinking about doing. So it's sort of, it's kind of a slowdown. I think the nice thing with Idea Lab, however, is the model that they have out there is flexible. So our next phase is to when we talk with more of these potential franchisees, is to kind of go over, there's different ways where it's not quite as much of an investment as we put in on the front end. Like I said, we really wanted to have a physical location since we're area developers and we had the first location. We wanted a physical place that looked great, that sold you on this product. But the nice thing is if someone wants to come in, this is also a model that can be used as after school. And a lot of people do it without opening a campus up at first. You can contact your schools. They can get an area. They can find schools in that area, and they can be just after school providers that do things out of the school from a mobile standpoint, and they don't necessarily have to have a full campus. So kind of our direction now is really discussing with these people who were kicking the tires and potentially thinking about it, while people may be holding on to their money a little bit more right now, just to sort of think through this. We're trying to really focus on the fact that you can start slower than we did with less general investment, but still claim your area, still get things going. And honestly, if you start with these schools first, you can build up your clientele to a certain level before you even have the campus. So it's a flexible model that can work for different price ranges also.
And as you're having these conversations with franchisees, whether they're just starting their due diligence process and learning about the brand, or they're getting more serious down the line as people are more willing to invest, what does that conversation look like? What do you want them to know about the brand and the model and what they can expect?
I think it just sort of keeps in line with kind of what I mentioned, that the potential to grow is there, and whether you want to do it quickly or you want to do it more of a cautious approach, the potential for growth is there. And so like I said, in Georgia especially, there's not anything like this that offers all these different areas of study, whether it's cooking or coding or art or science or just engineering. So it's this holistic approach where you get a little bit of everything, and you can grow it. The potential to grow is out of this world, but you can also start it at your own pace. And that's sort of kind of a winning factor for us and what we really are trying to push through with people. Like now's the time. People want extra activities for their kids, especially ones that are in public school and feel like they need that extra bonus. And so that's really kind of how we're trying to push it through, is if you don't feel like you can do a campus right now, we understand, but you can still lock your area down and you can just do your classes through the schools, like build these relationships, and it's far less investment, but you're still building up this base kind of at your pace. And as you get more and more, then you can start looking at investing in your own campus and then really grow it from there. But just the growth potential is exponential with it.
So, as we wrap this up, I think there's so many interesting aspects here. One of which is the value of the franchise model, right? So think about Idea Labs as a franchisor now recruited, highly motivated, highly intelligent franchisee who's now a developer, vested in the system. What I love about our conversation today and hearing you, Haydne, is it reflects well on the brand and on the franchisor when you're vested in the philosophy of the brand, the value it provides, and the lives you can improve, right? And in this case, it's not only the children, but it's also franchisees like yourself. So for me, I appreciate the insights. And I'm looking forward to seeing this story evolve. You have a very big state. I think, before and during, we're in the middle of a pandemic. You're investing in brick and mortar. You're committed to doing this, and not only improving lives of students, but potentially other franchisees and your own family. So there's a big story here. I personally, naturally, always going to be rooting for you guys, but I definitely want to see how this story evolves, especially the Idea Labs brand, the team itself, meeting the management team. You're a young brand, and there's a big pathway ahead. So it'll be very interesting.
Yeah, we're excited to see how this evolves also, but that's kind of the fun part, right? You get in on the ground up and it's
Yeah.
more of a risk, but it's also more reward in the end. So that's kind of how we look at it.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, I agree with Charles. We're excited to see how this goes, and thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity. I appreciate it.
Take care, Hayden.
Thank you.